Angel, what is the deal with the angel? At this point, we know about as much about the angel as we knew of the night before chapters 3 and 4, which was not much. Apparently it was more than enough for Jaru though. In any case, rather than continuing to sit here and do some dramatic build-up followed by tension-breaking stupid punchline loop to keep you hooked, I'd like to lay something out before I start this video. I do not have a personal unique theory as to who or what the angel is. That is to say, this theory video, I believe, will be different from most other theory videos. From what I can tell, most theory videos formers state their theory first before working downwards and grabbing evidence as to why their theory is so awesome and will be confirmed in chapter 9, parentheses, trust me bro. I personally find this methodology to be flawed, so I plan on approaching this in a similar way I went about the final prophecy. That being laying out what we factually know about the angel before looking at potential angel candidates. Unlike last time though, I went to look more deeply into the individual pieces of evidence that help the cases of each of the candidates while also giving some personal conjecture. So without further ado, god that is the most YouTuber shit I've ever said, let's start with what we know about the angel. To be entirely honest, we don't know a whole lot for certain, so this part is going to be pretty short. Here's what we know for sure though. The angel, well technically the angel's heaven, whatever that means, will be banished at the end of the story, presumably to stop the roaring. Additionally, this banishment is quoted in the prophecy as being the angel's desire. Speaking of the prophecy, we can pretty easily assume that the angel is horrific and or eldritch, given how Susie reacts upon seeing them in the obscured prophecy panel in chapter 4, with the scene playing out like so. Hey, below the words, that picture. What the hell is that supposed to be? That's the angel, Susie. What, to my understanding, it actually looks like. I don't know about that, man. Finally, and most speculatively, the angel may have themes of facelessness, whether that be literally by not having a face or more metaphorically by being emotionless or emotionless adjacent. I'm drawing this from the angel doll in Rudy's room and how highlighted its lack of a face is. I could be missing something, but to my knowledge, this is literally all that we directly know about the angel so far. Just as an additional aside that I won't really be counting, but should still be known, the angel is seemingly the center of the religion in Hometown. For example, in chapter 2, when you talk to Alvin, he gives Kris his best wishes by saying, "Let the angel's power light your way." So the angel is obviously some higher godlike being in Deltarune, in case that wasn't already apparent by the title of the angel. So with that laid out, let's go over the main theories as to who or what the angel is. You probably already know this by now, but there are 3 main theories as to who the angel is. The soul, aka the player, the vessel, and Noelle Holiday. Which, by the way, quick side tangent, but might I add how genuinely shocking it is that the community is pretty evenly split on which of these 3 is the angel. Like, for the knight, I'd say a good 60 to 80% of the community agrees that it's Des, but for the angel, it's like completely even from what I'm able to tell. Anyways, I'm gonna start with Noelle because I feel like the evidence for her is the easiest to understand. I'm going to first go over Noelle's individual points for why she could be the angel, which, contrary to the plurality I just gave the word, actually mainly consists of one key point: Noelle's association with angels. From her Dark World design being pretty holy looking, to her general connection with religion, such as being holiday themed, to literally starring as the angel in a pageant related to the religion of Hometown, and in chapter 2 how she specifically mentions jumping out of the Ferris wheel and growing angel wings? So with that point note firmly in mind, how do the general angel facts line up with our dear Noelle? First, the angel's desire of banishment. I honestly have no clue what this could be referring to in terms of Noelle. Maybe the gang will banish Noelle's lesbianism? I'm joking, of course. There is one theory that I'm sure a good portion of you are screaming at me right now, but I ask that you lot be quiet for now, because I promise that elephant over there will be addressed. Next up, I'd like to go over how the angel's potential facelessness could apply to Noelle. So basically, okay, yeah, it should be pretty obvious that the angel's lack of a face could be metaphorically represented by snowgrave Noelle's psyche being broken and her essentially turning into a blank slate puppet, which I honestly think could be very intriguing narrative-wise. Last but certainly not least is, well, how would Noelle look eldritch as the angel? I feel like if the angel looked even remotely like Noelle in this prophecy panel, Susie would have pointed it out like the one pogging Wojak, but instead she just looks at it in utter horror. Well, I say that, but then I realize Susie doesn't say shit about the knight's deer motif, so maybe I'm giving her a little too much credit. Little side note before I move on, can you imagine how freaking cool it would be if both the knight and the angel had eldritch deer motifs? Like, that'd low-key be poetic. I don't know, just a thought. That's about all in terms of Noelle as the angel for now. Like I said, I will come back and address the extremely obese elephant currently taking up 75% of the breathable room, but let's just look at candidate number 2, the vessel. I'm gonna put my biases about the vessel aside for a moment, and this time start by going over how the angel's facts tie into the vessel. First and foremost, I believe the vessel could pretty easily shapeshift into something more horrific. They already have a pretty uncanny appearance as is, so if some force were to take control of them and make them even more off-putting or creepy, I would definitely understand Susie's reaction to this panel. Speaking of uncanny uncanny? You know what's pretty uncanny? Not having a face, that's for sure. Yeah, so both the vessel and the angel doll in Rudy's room have a very distinct lack of a face. I honestly think this is one of the strongest reasons as to why the vessel could be the angel, even as a vessel's important denier. Finally, the angel's heaven being banished, I don't really know how this would work with the vessel either. To be honest, I think we kind of just need more elaboration as to what this really means, you know? Because if it means banishing the angel themselves, that means the vessel would just show up and then immediately be banished again, which is kind of funny, to be honest. With the facts out of the way, I'd mainly like to take this time to highlight one piece of neat conjecture in favor of the vessel being the angel that I thought of. That being the fact that the vessel is very human-like, and the angel in Undertale is, well, a human, specifically Frisk. Since humans also appear to be about as uncommon in the world of Deltarune as they are in the underground of Undertale, it wouldn't come as too much of a surprise if they were seen as something higher in some cases. Though this argument could also be used in favor of Kris as the angel, so moving on to the final candidate. You know them, you are them, the soul. Alright, I'm gonna address the facts first, but this time I'll be a lot quicker with two of them because I'm sure this is all starting to sound a bit redundant. For one, the soul already has horrific and borderline eldritch themes attached to it with the snowgrave route and such, so it gets to pass on that. Secondly, the soul literally doesn't have a face, so... But also in chapter 4, it essentially possesses the same faceless angel doll from Rudy's room, which is like, yeah, nice foreshadowing, buddy. Finally, we once again stumble upon the most confusing point of the three, the angel's heaven being banished. Since the soul isn't really their own character, there's honestly, again, not much we can really do with this info, because, as I said, we kinda just need more elaboration on this point. So, back to the conjecture. I'd actually like to bring up two things this time. For one, as I briefly mentioned in the facts section of this video, the angel, given its title, is clearly meant to be some kind of higher being in the religion of Hometown. And what better higher being than the player that controls and dictates the actions of the party, and possesses a teenager, I guess. Additionally, the Father Alvin line I quoted in that same section of the video plays a role in the soul potentially being the angel as well, with Alvin saying, "Let the angels power light your way," which is eerily similar to a part of Raise Up Your Bat. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I was low-key gonna sing the lyrics, but then I remembered I'm actually like trash at singing, so I'm just gonna read them out. Come follow me into the dark with your heart as the arc, which shall shine you the way, because I'm with you in the dark with your heart as my mark, which shall guide you the way. I don't know about you guys, but those lyrics seem to be talking about a pretty heart-shaped object doing actions that a priest considers angelic. Anyways, I think it's about time to wrap this up. Right. Let me address the elephant in the room. Oh boy, where do I even begin with this theory? I'm gonna keep most of this pretty brief because there's enough about these two theories alone to dedicate an entire video to. This theory primarily contributes to wrapping up loose ends with each of the individual theories. Noelle wouldn't look scary and or eldritch? Yeah, but what if she was possessed by the soul, huh? The vessel wouldn't desire being banished because it's a blank slate without any desires or emotions? Yeah, but what if you possess the vessel, huh? Do you have desires? Yeah. I thought so. Most importantly though, this theory has the potential to clear up some of the confusion with the whole angel desires banishment of their heaven thing. In the case of Noelle, it would probably just be the soul being exorcised out of her, and thus the angel, as in the soul, would be banished. Not sure how this would really be the soul's desire though. Something something, the player desires an end, something something. I personally find the case for soul and vessel angel to be more intriguing. Hear me out for a second. The angel, in this case, would more specifically be the soul. Imagine if the soul was banished to the depths and then met with their desire to see and use the vessel again. And that's how the faceless vessel possessed by the soul comes back into play. That's the closest you're really gonna get for a personal theory on the angel from me, but I still personally lean more towards the vessel being unimportant. Anyways, for real this time, let's wrap this up. I'm honestly not quite sure if I did this topic justice or not. Despite how little we know about the angel, there's really a lot of discussion to be had about them. Perhaps it's exactly that lack of information that drives myself and many others to claw at the scraps we have and try to make something out of it. I don't know. This was honestly really fun to think about, and I look forward to the future tidbits we receive about the potential identity of the angel. Anyways, thanks for stopping by. If you like this video, remember to like and hype, and let me know if I missed anything in the comments. I do read all comments. Also, before I go, thank you all again so much for 10,000 subscribers. I want to go ever higher with this channel though, so consider subscribing. It would mean a lot to me if you did. Anyways, until next time, peace.